and when he was attacked and he was killed in that incident, I was shocked and I was very hurt, as most Muslims were, because of what happened. So these type of incidents, one of the things that we need to avoid is to paint a broad picture and label all Muslims as being extremists or intolerant because of the acts of a handful of a few. So we condemn all those acts of intolerance and extremism that are committed in the name of Islam and committed by those who call themselves as Muslims. There is the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that, beware of extremism in religion because it has destroyed the peoples before you. So Muslims do not, we believe that we should not be reacting with extremism or intolerance, as it is not the teaching of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, even during the time of extreme crisis, when he was boycotted in Mecca, for example, when he was living in Mecca, or when he went to seek refuge in a neighboring city called Taif, the people there actually stoned him. Some of they let loose some of the kids to stone him, and he was bleeding to the point that his feet got clogged into his shoes. And that was, even at that point, he showed extreme mercy and tolerance, and he prayed for the people who actually committed this crime towards him. So Muslims do not believe in any acts of aggression or intolerance, and we have to all work together to remove these type of incidents from occurring in the Muslim community and in the Muslim world.
We are actually approaching the time of prayer, which is going to be at 2 o'clock, and that's why I'm going to humbly request all our guests to please stay behind and do observe us while we are performing our prayer. The one question that did come, this is the final question I'm actually going to address, and then we'll get to prayer. And in regards to the prayer also, there's something that I would like to share with you. But before that, the question that comes is, what is the importance of hijab in Islam? Hijab is actually the term that's used that for a woman to cover her hair and to dress very modestly. It is not necessarily true that a woman has to wear something. Like a lot of times you will see that a lot of Muslim women, they wear like this one black cloak. It covers the entire body. That is not necessary. However, what is necessary is for them to cover their hair. And this is an act of modesty. And you will see that once again, this is mentioned in the Quran, that this is something that all Muslim women should be observing. At the same time, I will also mention that a lot of times people around, this is something that I've heard on the radios, this is something I've read in newspapers, or people, they mention that why do women have to cover, and this is something that, should not be made mandatory for them. First of all, this is God, what He mentions in the Quran. And when it comes to God, like we learned from Abraham, God always comes before we come. Number two is that this is not something that is relatively new. We see this, that even when you go to a Catholic church, you see, or if you have been to, if you have ever visited the, what's the main Catholic in Rome? The Vatican. If anyone has ever gone to the Vatican also, you will see that there are nuns over there, and the nuns are what? They are completely covered also. Even their hair is covered also. This is something that does exist in Christianity also. You will see that even in Judaism also, when women, long ago, when women would even be, serving God, they would also cover themselves also. So this is not something that is new. This is something that does even exist in other scriptures and other and religions also. But once again, in Islam, every woman, she's told to cover her hair, and this is something that comes from God, which is an act of modesty. Now, we will go ahead and start making preparations for prayer. Once again, I humbly request all our guests to sit down and observe the prayer. One thing I will mention is this to our guests. I'm sure that whenever you've been to a church, there's something that you have seen different from what you see in the mosque. And that is that when you go to a church, you will see depictions of God. You will see depictions of Angel Gabriel. You will see depictions of different prophets. I remember I went to a hospital, to a children's hospital to visit a child one time from my congregation, and I had to go and pray in the chapel, and they had a huge depiction of Prophet Noah and his ark and all the animals coming and getting loading, they're being loaded onto the ark and so forth. So you will see that when you come to any mosque, when you go to any mosque around the entire world, it is actually against Islamic teachings to make any type of depictions that resemble God, that resemble Prophet Muhammad or any other prophet. It is impermissible, and that's why you will see our mosque. It is just white walls. There's no depiction of God or anything or any angel or prophets or of that type. The second thing also that you will also observe is that when you go to a church or when you go to a synagogue, you will see that one of the key things in any worship is musical instruments. You will see that the musical instrument is played while worship is taking place, singing is taking place, does take place in the process of worship. As you will observe right now, you will learn that when it comes to Muslims, there is one main central figure, the person who is leading the prayer, and everyone follows him. Men and women, they all follow him. And the prayer the prayer in Islam, it is more revolving around concentration, devotion, and in prayers when the Quran is being recited out loud, which will not be the case right now, but in prayers when the Quran is being recited out loud, it is recommended that the people who are standing behind, they listen and they try to observe and they try to comprehend over the verses that are being recited. So that's why you will see that there are no musical instruments also involved. So this is just two things I want to mention, because a lot of times when people they come to a mosque for the very first time, that's the very first question, that why is it just plain white walls around? Why is there no depictions? Why is there we don't see any musical instruments? And I just wanted to clarify that. So without further ado, we will break for prayer. And once again, I have the request for the guests to observe the prayer. And then after the prayer, right now we will have the call to prayer as you saw in the video. But after the prayer, if any of you do have any questions, I and Brother Sayyid Ali, we will be here to answer any of your questions. Once again, thank you. I want to, on behalf of East Plano Islamic Center, I want to say thank you to all our guests for coming, taking out the time, and coming today. Thank you.
Thank you.